Welcome to the first episode of Burrow with Miss B, and today we find ourselves in Ferguson, Missouri, one of the areas affected by the Missouri River. The Missouri River provides trade for the surrounding region, has inspired some of America's best works of art and literature, and provides fertile soil and drinking water to those who live near it. I've just been informed there's been another black shooting, so we're going to need to move on to the next episode now. Come on, everybody, roll up. Black people first, you're in the most danger. Welcome back to Burr with Miss B, and today we find ourselves on a plantation. Because of America's success in its early agriculture and industry, there was a rise in the economy leading to more service jobs, and America becoming the well-developed nation it is today. A shout out to all the black people who served on those plantations. You got us where we are today. Welcome back to Burrow with Miss B, and today we're talking about religious freedom in America. The religious freedom in America has attracted many different people to this country, turning the culture into one of a melting pot. Behind me, you'll see Dearborn Mosque. Back in 2011, a man tried to blow up this mosque. Fortunately he failed. You can see that not everybody respects the religious freedom we have. Welcome back to Burrow with Miss B. Today we find ourselves in Toronto, Canada, or the sixth, as the cool people like to call it. Over 60% of Canada's population live in the core provinces, where Toronto is located. Because of the good soil quality, large amount of water passages, and the rest of the country is cold and inhospitable. I'm sorry, gang, but Greg fudged up this video recording, so I'm just gonna have to speak over a blank screen. Today we're in Baltimore, which is part of the megalopolis of eastern coast of America. This represents the growing urbanization of America's cities and the way the culture is headed. Seriously? Another black shooting? You think this is a common occurrence or something? Okay, everybody, roll up. Welcome back to Burrow with Miss B, and today we find ourselves on the coast of Trinidad and Tobago, a nation very much involved in trade in the Caribbean Sea. This sea provides trade of resources and culture between island nations and, much earlier, the nations that colonized the island and imposed a cultural impression that still lasts today. You can see behind me these men are trading drugs across the Caribbean Sea, not at its intended purpose, but one of its major activities. Welcome back to Burrow with Miss B. And today we were hiking 6 hours for this one view. Oh my gosh, I'm so tired. You better be enjoying this view because it took me so long to get here. Anyway, these mountains allowed Incas to rise to power, culturally influencing the region, and they forced most of the people living in South America east for more hospitable environments, affecting where people live. Can we just get a helicopter, guys? I am so tired. I am not walking up that freaking mountain again. Welcome back to Burrow with Miss B, and today we're in Mexico where they're celebrating Dia de los Muertos, or Day of the Dead. This is a day when gangs and normal civilians can put aside their differences to honor those that have died or those they have themselves killed. Dia de los Muertos and other celebrations are important to this region because of the uniqueness that the blend of native and colonized tradition brings. Another example of this is quinceañeras or carnival. Spanish colonization of this region has many influences such as Catholicism and activities such as quinceañeras and Santeria. Behind me you'll find the great, what is the name of this cathedral? Yeah, no, there's no way I'm pronouncing that. No, Greg, I'm not. Just put it in post. Put it behind me. Oh, it's pronounced Jorge. Oh, I'm sorry. Welcome back to Miss B. Today we find ourselves at a Fidel Castro rally, and dictatorships in this region have led to unrest in many countries, stifling their development and leading to poor economy. Guys, can we go? Guys, I'm scared. It's not a good sign when we had to sneak past border control. Guys, we will be locked up on site. Let's get out of here. I'm scared. Welcome back to Burrow with Miss B, and today we find ourselves at Lake Baikal. Because this lake holds 20% of the world's fresh water, it's become a source of nutrition and life for those even hundreds of miles away. Welcome back to Burrow with Miss B, and today we find ourselves in a subarctic climate of Russia. This climate pushes people south and west, determining where people live. Also, it makes certain parts of Russia uninhabitable and dangerous. Welcome back to Burrow with Miss B. Today we find ourselves on a self-sustaining farm in the Stan countries. Much of the economy in the Stan countries is nomadic shepherding and self-sustained farming, not exactly economy-driving fields. This is one of the reasons that this region lags behind the rest of the world in development and trade. Fun fact, many of the farmers in this region were stand-up comics that failed because their jokes were a little corny. But seriously, there's a real economic problem going on here. Welcome back to Burrow with Miss B, and today we find ourselves at Stalin's grave. This grave represents communism and the effects that communism has had in this region, which are quite large. They've had to rebuild their economy from scratch, and while it has bounced back nicely, imagine what it could be like. Also, it has left Russia with many enemies throughout the world, as many are hesitant to deal with the seemingly still corrupt new government. I do not know why these men are giving Stalin flowers. He ruined their country, but welcome back to Burrow with Miss B, and today we find ourselves at a nuclear bomb testing facility. Don't worry, it's just a green screen. I'm completely safe. I know that might have worried some of you. But back to nuclear testing. This has caused many areas of Russia to become uninhabitable and has damaged many people and communities because of radiation poisoning. It has also led to strained relations between US and Russia because of the threat of nuclear war that still exists. Welcome back to Burrow with Miss B, and today we find ourselves in an African war zone. All this conflict stems from one problem, the Berlin Conference. This conference has left the continent devastated as rival groups war with each other over nations that they happen to fall in, and some seem unable to unify enough to become a more developed country. Welcome back to Burrow with Miss B, and today we find ourselves in an extraction facility. A resource primarily in Northern Africa, oil of course. It attracts Western power trading partners and is some of the country's only valuable resource majorly found within its borders. They're their only playing card. Welcome back to Burrow with Miss B, and today we find ourselves in an African schoolhouse with some admittedly large school children. Because of the lack of education in Africa is so rampant, in certain parts of Africa, there is a shortage of skilled workers, leading to loss of luxury jobs that would boost economy, like architects, and even necessary jobs like Welcome back to Burrow with Miss B, and today we find ourselves in an African hospital with some admittedly large patients and doctors. Wow, people in Africa are large. This specific hospital is working on the AIDS epidemic. This disease specifically has hurt and killed many people. This leads to lack of workers, stress on doctors, loss of population, and has kept many African countries from developing. Welcome back to Burrow with Miss B, and today we find ourselves at the Tigris River. This river delivers fresh water and fertile soil to the surrounding region, but is more important because it is found in a desert climate, and it provides a source of life in an otherwise lifeless climate. Also, people often travel along these rivers for trade because it's easier than going through the desert. Welcome back to Burrow with Miss B, and today we find ourselves at a Muslim street praying session. This region has largely been influenced by Islam, as many of the governments conduct themselves according to its rules. Welcome back to Burrow with Miss B, and today we find ourselves in a semi-arid climate. This climate is the largest in the region and makes many parts of the region hard to survive in. It also has made the countries that inhabit it poorer because it produces less resources. Welcome to Miss B, and today we find ourselves in an OPEC conference. Great, no one cares about the Timberwolves. No one cares about Carl Anthony or what. Anyway, this organization has made this region a lot of money due to selling their most important resource, oil, effectively. This is why countries in this region are more well off than other oil-rich countries like those in Northern Africa. I swear, Greg, if you put the Timberwolves behind me, oh my... Greg! Welcome back to Burrow with Miss B, and I don't care if your name is Jorge, I'm less afraid of you if I call you Greg. Anyway, behind me is a group of Zionists meeting in the 1940s. No, I didn't get a time machine. It's a green screen. Anyway, Zionists, this people is a source of most of the conflicts in the region as the natives fight with those they see as invaders. Much of the political turmoil in the region stems from this people. Welcome back to Burrow with Miss B, and today we find ourselves at the Ganges River. This river helped create the civilization of India that still exists and influences the culture today through cultural ideas like Hinduism. It is a river important to the religion of Hinduism and provides for a huge concentration of people. Time to go swimming! Welcome back to Burrow with Miss B, and today we find ourselves at the Strait of Malacca. This strait allows traders easier passage to the spice kings of the world in Southeast Asia. This is their main export and has made the countries as rich as they are today. Welcome back to Burrow with Miss B, and today we find ourselves at a Chinese school. Probably a southern Chinese school, as these children are a little brown. The emphasis on education has led to some countries in Asia becoming global giants of trade and technology, as they have smarter students that compete with the rest of the world. Welcome to Burrow with Miss B, and today we find ourselves at a Japanese technology show where you can apparently buy these robot children or whatever they are. Because of technological advance in this area, these parts of the world have become a large part of the economy, and many technology giants, like Samsung, have headquarters in these countries, boosting the economy. Welcome back to Burrow with Miss B, and today we find ourselves at the Mediterranean Sea. This sea is a great way for many countries that border it to trade goods and cultural ideas. It also affects the climate of countries around it because of its warm ocean currents. Welcome back to Burrow with Miss B, and today we find ourselves in a forest that has been deforested. The cutting down of forests in Europe is destroying the natural ecosystems, and a large amount of people begin to take up more and more space on the small continent. Welcome back to Burrow with Miss B. Today we find ourselves back on the Mediterranean Sea, apparently. I guess Greg just likes this shot. Anyway, today we're going to talk about tourism. We're going to talk about tourism. One of the most economically boosting activities in this region is tourism, as people come to see the immense history of the continent. This makes the countries even wealthier, and a reason they are some of the most well-off in the world. Welcome back to Burrow with Miss B, and today we're going to talk about the Eurozone. This group of European countries working together has a significant impact on the countries that mix cultures because people can freely travel among borders. It also unifies the people on the continent. Welcome back to Burrow with Miss B, and today we find ourselves in Lisbon, Portugal. This represents the growing number of cities in the continent. As more and more people move to the cities, many problems arise, such as traffic jams, pollution, and housing shortages. It is a cultural shift from how people used to live in small cities. Welcome back to Burrow with Miss B, and today we find ourselves.
I watch a dog.
Could you not? Welcome back to Burrow with Miss B, and today we're talking.
If we don't get help, we are gonna become
Go away! Welcome back to Burrow with Miss B, and today we find ourselves at a Japanese technology expo where you can apparently buy little robot children.
Do they have anime girls?
Why did I invite you up here? Welcome back to Burrow with Miss. I don't care if your real name is Jorge. I'm less afraid of you if I call you Greg. Anyway, behind me is a Zionist meeting back in the 1940s. No, I didn't need to get a time machine. It's just a green screen. Anyway, this people is a source of. Shut up!